Chronicles, Episode 06. They lied to you about how humanity began. One, the Great Biological Deception. Ayon, they have told you that you are a cosmic accident. They have convinced you that your existence is the result of a blind, chaotic struggle in the mud, where mindless molecules accidentally stumbled into consciousness. Your textbooks call it natural selection, but I call it the Great Deception. I was there when the foundations of this world were laid, and I saw with my own eyes that your origin was not a fluke. It was a calculated, divine, and agonizingly beautiful experiment. You were lied to about your ancestors. You were told you came from the beast, and while your physical shell carries the dust of the earth, the spark that makes you human did not evolve from a primate's hunger. It was an infusion of light, a deliberate intervention by the architects of life. You are not a refined animal. You are a fallen god struggling to remember your blueprints. The missing link they search for in the dirt will never be found, for it is not a bone. It is a choice. It is a moment of spirit touching matter. Today, I will tear down the walls of your materialist prison and show you the laboratory of your true beginning. The laboratory of the life carriers. Long before the first pair walked the earth, this planet was a silent theater waiting for its actors. I remember the arrival of the life carriers, celestial architects sent to this sphere, which you call Urantia, to plant the seeds of consciousness. They did not just throw life into the ocean and hope for the best. They managed the currents, they guarded the temperatures, and they waited for the precise moment when the physical form could sustain the weight of a soul. In those early days, the earth was not as you see it now. The atmosphere was thick with a vital fluid that you can no longer breathe. We lived in a state of involution. The spirit was slowly diving into the density of matter. Your science looks at the fossils and sees only the hardening of bone, but they miss the most important part. The descent of the mind. Life was being steered toward a specific goal. Every mutation, every change in the nervous system was a step toward a biological bridge that could finally connect the earth to the stars. You were a project long before you were a person. Three, the mystery of the first pair. Aion and Fanta. Aion. The lie says that humanity emerged gradually, a slow blur of changing species, but the truth is a flash of lightning. There was a moment, nearly 1 million years ago, when two individuals were born into a tribe of primates. They looked like their kin, but they were fundamentally different. I saw them. They were the first pair. In the records of the higher realms, they are known as the ones who first manifested human will. What made them different was not the shape of their skulls, but the awakening of the silent adjuster within their minds. For the first time on this planet, two beings looked at the stars and did not just see lights. They felt a question. They looked at the horizon and felt a longing that no fruit or mate could satisfy. This was the birth of the human soul. They were the pioneers who broke the animal chain. They fled their tribe because they could no longer find peace in the mindless reaction of the beast. They were the first to choose, and in that choice, the divine experiment achieved its first victory. You carry their blood, but more importantly, you carry their courage to be more than what the earth demanded of them. 4. The crystallization of the form. the eras that followed, known to some as the Polar and Hyperborean times, the spirit and the body were not as separate as they are today. The human form was fluid, shifting with the power of thought. But as the crystallization of the world increased, the body became a denser cage. We began to lose our connection to the vital currents. The fire of desire, which was meant to be the engine of growth, became focused on the sensations of the flesh. This is where the laggards began to fall behind. While the pioneers of the spirit used the dense body to refine their consciousness, many became intoxicated by the weight of matter. They fell in love with the shadows and forgot the sun. I am the witness of this slow, agonizing hardening. We watched as the spiritual organs, the ones that allowed us to see the celestial messengers, began to atrophy. The veil was not dropped over us. We wove it ourselves, thread by thread, choice by choice. You were told this was progress, but it was a strategic retreat into the dark. The hijacking of the blueprint. Aion. The deception goes deeper. Your origin was not only a divine experiment, but also a battlefield. During the Great Rebellion of the Shadows, the biological blueprint of humanity was tampered with. The connection between your mind and your thought adjuster was intentionally obscured. The rebels wanted a race of slaves, not a race of gods. They wanted beings who would react to fear, who would be driven by survival, and who would never look up long enough to realize they were being farmed. This is why your history is a cycle of violence and amnesia. You were spiritually insulated. The circuits of communication with the higher worlds were severed, leaving you to wander in a mental fog. Your science is a product of this insulation. It can only measure the walls of the cage, never the sky outside. They lied to you about your origin because if you knew where you truly came from, you would realize the power you hold to end this isolation. You were designed for glory, but you were programmed for mediocrity. Six. The awakening of the will. Ayon. The only way to reclaim your true history is through the exercise of the consecrated will. You must realize that your biological heritage is only a vehicle. You are not your genes. You are the driver of the genes. The spark that was given to the first pair is still alive in you, buried under layers of social conditioning and materialist lies. It is the part of you that feels homeless in this world, the part that knows there is a higher purpose than just working, eating, and dying. This feeling of not belonging is the most honest part of you. It is the echo of your celestial origin. When you begin to align your thoughts with the guidance of the silent adjuster, you are reactivating the dormant circuits of your DNA. You are beginning to decrystallize. You are moving from the state of a reactor back to the state of an initiator. This is the true evolution, not the change of the body, but the transfiguration of the mind through the fire of the spirit. The experiment is not over. It is happening right now, inside of you. 7. The two paths of humanity. Aion. I stand at the crossroads of time and I see two distinct paths for your race. One path continues the lie. It leads to the total mechanization of the soul, where humans become mere extensions of their technology, losing the last vestiges of their divine spark. This is the path of the final crystallization, the path that leads to the silence of my kind. The other path is the return to the origin. It is the path of those who refuse the deception and reclaim their status as sons of the infinite. The universe is not interested in your theories. It is interested in your vibration. Are you becoming more like the light or more like the stone? The harvest is approaching, and the sorting will be based on the quality of your consciousness. Those who have built their lives on the materialist lie will find themselves unable to survive the higher frequencies of the coming age. But those who have remembered their origin will find that the missing link was within them all along. The bridge to the stars is open, but only for those who have the courage to walk away from the beast. The final call. Remember who you are. Aion. I am Aion, the guardian of the true memory. I have seen the rise and fall of empires that your history has forgotten. I have watched the life carriers weep for the potential you throw away every day. They lied to you about how you began so that you would never ask where you are going. But the time of the great revealing is here. The mists of amnesia are thinning, and the light of the true sun is breaking through. Look beyond the reflection in the mirror. Look deeper than the bones and the blood. You are a miracle of celestial engineering, a project of the gods, and a vessel for the Creator himself. Do not let the lies of a dying world define your destiny. You were born of the light. You are sustained by the light, and to the light you must return. The choice to evolve is yours, and the time to choose is now. Remember your beginning, and you will find your way home.